Hi guys, question 14. Again, it's in radians, but this is pretty simple problems, okay? So this is a very straightforward solve, just in radians really. So let's start off with part A. So we have to first of all work out what our new range is going to be. It's no longer going to be theta because we've got to add pi, or a third of pi to it. So theta plus a third of pi is now going to be 2 pi and a third, so that's 7 thirds of pi. And if we add a third of pi, we're going to have a third of pi there. Okay, so to find out what theta plus pi over 3 is going to be, we're going to have the inverse tan of 1. So here we know that tan is positive, so let's draw a cast diagram. So here we go. We know tan is going to be positive, so if we draw our two angles in where we know it's positive, which is going to be they're all positive there, and tan is also positive there, these two angles being identical. Okay, so here's our range. So we know this is 0, we know this is 2 pi. You can see here we're going just a little bit over 2 pi. So not too bad, this question at all. Right, so we're going to get a solution here, and we're going to get a solution there. So to work out what this solution is, we're just going to have to do the inverse tan of pi. So let's start writing this down. So theta plus a third of pi. This first one is going to give us a quarter pi. So when you type that in, you get a quarter pi. So that means this angle here is a quarter of pi, and likewise for that one. So a quarter pi, pi over 4. Then if we go all the way around, we're going to have pi plus this angle, so that's 1 1/4, so that's going to be 5 quarters. Now, we said here it's just a little bit over 2, so let's go with it and see what happens at the end. If in doubt, just add it on and just look at the very end at your answers. Okay, so it's 2 pi plus a quarter, that's 2 1/4, which is going to be 9 pi and a quarter. Okay, so I shouldn't have used this colour, but that's that from that one, that's from there, and this one was from my green line. Okay, so that's theta plus a third of pi. So now to find theta, I'm going to have to take away a third of pi from every single one. So it's going to be a quarter pi, take away a third. This one, take away a third of pi. And 9 pi over 4, take away pi over 3. Again, we're going to have to make these all over 12. So just common denominators. Oops. In fact, I'll just pause it quickly and do that for you. Okay, so I'm sure you've caught up. If you haven't, just pause it now and catch up. Make sure you agree with those numbers and letters I've written in pink. Okay, so 3 pi take away 4 pi, that's going to be negative. So we're not going to be using that one because our smallest value has to be 0. 15 take away 4, well that's going to be 11 pi over 2. And 27 take away 4, that's 23, oh sorry, that's 12, not 2. 23 pi over 12. And there you have it. They are your two answers for part A. Okay, so for part B, again, this is all ready to go really. You don't have to do any rearranging. To find out what 2 theta is, it's going to be the inverse sine of, now when I type it in, I'll just put it like that. That might help some of you out. The minus, it doesn't matter where it goes, it can go on the bottom. Just generally, most people put it on the top. Okay, and we know that sine is going to be negative, so let's look at our cast diagram here. Oh, that's a bit wonky, I do apologise. But it's going to serve its purpose. So, where is sine negative? So, it's positive in the top two, so it's actually negative there and there. And these angles, remember, are exactly the same. Okay, so when you type this in, when you type in inverse sine of here, you'll get an angle that you may or may not be expecting, and that is minus pi over 3. It's a minus because it's going in this direction. It's always going to give you the closest one to that 0. But what it actually means is this angle here is pi over 3, and therefore that one is as well. But we are only interested in, first of all, we actually have to work out our new range as well. So we'll do that too. I probably should have done that to start off with. I normally do. So let's do that now. So our new range is 2 theta. Okay, so before it was 2 pi, so now it's going to be 4 pi, and that's going to be 0. So this one's way easier than the previous one. Okay, so going back to what I just said before, that is pi over 3. Now if you're going to use this, sometimes when I've got that, I just times it by -1 and it just makes it positive. So if you want to use your calculator to do some of the sums that I'm doing without a calculator, times it by -1 gets it in a positive value for you. Okay, so let's start. So we're going to be going in this direction because we're only interested in these positives. So that's going to be to there. Our first value is going to come from, well, one of our values is all the way around to this point here. And again, another one is not as far around, but to there. So this is going to be 2 theta, and this one, green one, is also going to give us a value for 2 theta. Okay, so let's start writing some down. So 2 theta. So quite often the case is the very first one is an answer, but that's only because you're looking in this quadrant here. Today we're only looking at the 3rd and 4th. I don't know why I said today, right now. Right, so we know that's a pi. We know this is 1/3 of pi, so pi plus 1/3 is 1 1/3, which is 4 pi over 3. Now for this one here, this green one, it's 2 pi, take away 1/3, so it's 1 2/3, which is 5 pi over 3. Okay. So from there, so now we're going to start off at 2 pi. So 2 pi all the way around to here. Well, I'll just put the 3 in front of that. 3 pi plus 1/3. So that's going to be 3 1/3. That's going to be 10 pi and 1/3. And again, all the way around. So we've got 4 pi, take away 1/3. 3 2/3 is 11 pi over 3. I'm just going to do some color coding. So that first one came from my blue line, and so did that one, so I dot that one, and the second one came from my green, and so did that one within my range. Okay, so much nicer now. To find out what theta is, we're just going to divide by 2, that's the same as times them by 1/2, so it's 4 pi over 6, just basically pop a 6 on the bottom of every single one. And there we have it. Just finish writing these out. And we're done.